After Adachi ran away from his date with his coworker, Kurosawa, at the end of episode 1. Now in episode 2, Adachi goes straight to his only friend, Masato, to confess his problems. Adachi tries to explain everything that happened, that he has magical powers due to his virginity, that he heard that his coworker likes him, and that now he doesn't know what to do. Of course that Masato, an author of romance novels, he thinks that it's all made up, and Adachi is just imagining things. Adachi insists that it's true, and he does have magical powers and can hear people's thoughts. Masato however says that magical powers aside, there is nothing wrong with Adachi being liked by his coworker, and that Adachi should take advantage of that, just like a woman. But Adachi can't do that, especially when he knows that Kurosawa's feelings are honest. Masato tells him that he should think a lot more about how he really feels than think about his coworker's feeling. And this discussion calms Adachi a bit. Then he accidentally touches his friend, and he has a surprise when he hears that Masato isn't that great either, and he's never had a romantic relationship either. Adachi is a little surprised, but mind his own business, thinking about the advice he heard. Kurosawa is not a bad boy, and Adachi feels quite comfortable around him and really can't find anything wrong with him. The next day at work, Adachi still can't stop thinking about Kurosawa, how he cooked for him a few days ago, and how he treated him. Still, Adachi feels guilty for running away like that the last time he met him. Later, it turns out that Kurosawa is having trouble with a customer who seems very upset for no reason. And all the other coworkers are worried. Adachi also notices this scene and decides to intervene. He brings some coffee to the table and touches the customer to hear his thoughts, then Adachi solves the customer's problem by bringing a cake to the table. Because apparently, that was the ridiculous problem, the customer just wanted something sweet. Kurosawa thanks Adachi, although he didn't know exactly what power Adachi actually has. Kurosawa is just grateful for the help. Later, all the coworkers go out to eat. And because of a little game that the coworkers are playing, Kurosawa is challenged to kiss Adachi. And this dare makes Adachi terribly uneasy, because he has never kissed anyone before. Kurosawa notices how anxious Adachi is, so, instead of a serious kiss, Kurosawa just touches Adachi's forehead with his lips. Everyone is a little disappointed, but Kurosawa knows how to get out of that situation, so he apologizes and gets out for a bit. Adachi, still surprised by the little kiss, also gets up and goes outside to Kurosawa and asks him if he's okay. The two have a small conversation where Kurosawa tries not to make a big deal out of what happened. But the truth that Kurosawa is thinking is different. It seems that Adachi hears that Kurosawa was actually really happy for that dare, and he thought that maybe this was his chance to make a move, but when he saw Adachi, so scared, he woke up to reality and realized that it was wrong to have these feelings. After Adachi hears this, he starts to feel a little bad for Kurosawa's sincere feelings. So Adachi speaks up and says that he wasn't upset about the dare or the kiss, it was just that he had no previous romantic experience, and because of that, he was a bit emotional. And this, of course, revives Kurosawa's hopes, and he makes a sudden move and comes very close to Adachi, and he's about to confess something, but the door opens and their coworkers approach. Adachi pushes Kurosawa aside as if nothing happened. But Adachi is still curious about what Kurosawa wanted to tell him. And he hopes he has a small chance to find out. But when Kurosawa turns to him, he says something else, that Adachi should stay at his place for the night. Adachi feels in danger again and politely declines. However, the next day at work, Kurosawa does not give up, he still finds chances to get closer to Adachi. In episode 3, the background changes a bit and Adachi and his coworkers are at a karaoke night. Adachi is not a big fan of these social events or peoples, especially one of his annoying coworkers, Rokaku. However, Adachi talks to him a bit and helps him when he feels sick. But all this short socializing of the two is also noticed by Kurosawa, who is a little jealous. So he goes to them and gets rid of the annoying coworker. Adachi of course feels awkward sitting so close to Kurosawa, but he doesn't really have much else to do. Throughout the evening, Kurosawa tries to impress Adachi by showing him what a great voice he has, but Adachi is more envious of him for being good at everything than being impressed. Later, Adachi feels a bit intimidated by a few women who want to approach Kurosawa, and so Adachi stands up and makes a way for them. Adachi goes to the hallway, and there he meets a female coworker who is in trouble. Adachi decides to step out of his comfort zone and intervene. But the two men are too intimidating, and Adachi doesn't stand a chance. Luckily, Kurosawa shows up and immediately removes the two men. Apparently, the only reason Kurosawa was there was because he wanted to check Adachi to see if he was okay. And after a quick look, he notices that Adachi has a little scratch on his neck, and Kurosawa offers to help him with a patch. Through this proximity of the two, Adachi can hear what is in Kurosawa's head. And there is a great feeling of jealousy on every person who got close to Adachi, and also the fact that no matter how much Kurosawa tried to get Adachi's attention, he still failed to win his feelings, and many other insecurities are in his head. Adachi is a little surprised to learn that the great Kurosawa, good at everything, has bad days too. The next day, Adachi, Kurosawa, and Rokaku go to the sauna. And we get to know how things are from Kurosawa's perspective. He's very careful about his body physique because he wants to impress Adachi, not that Adachi notices his efforts too much. Then, when they enter the sauna, Kurosawa can't help but think about how close he is to Adachi and how he can see him in that way. After that, Adachi and Kurosawa walk around the park for a bit, and Kurosawa takes pictures of Adachi because he's too cute. Then Kurosawa spaces out a little and remembers how his life was like. How he was always seen as just a pretty face with a lot of advantages in life, and some people kind of criticized him out of envy for that, and Kurosawa started to have a big insecurity. That people didn't take him seriously for what he think. Even though Kurosawa tried his best to show what he can do, there was still someone to judge him. Even at his current workplace, where he met Adachi, and where he tried to help him at some point in the past to get him out of an unpleasant situation, but unfortunately Kurosawa managed to crash his image a bit. However, Adachi appreciated that Kurosawa helped him, and he talked to him a bit, and Kurosawa exposed his problems to Adachi, and he listened to him and told him to stop being so bad with himself. And from that moment, Kurosawa felt saved by Adachi's words, and from then on, he started to love him. And back to the present, 7 months later, Kurosawa is even more attracted to Adachi's kindness, and he will not stop trying to win him over.